How to take pictures in the high school gym. What we will cover: what sports are played in the gym, issues, gear including camera and lens, and what lens do you need for your gym. Exposure, away games, things to watch out for, move, do not use a flash, high ISO and noise reduction. What sports are played in the gym? At my school, in the fall, girls volleyball. In the winter, basketball and wrestling. In the spring, boys volleyball and badminton. Issues: light, low light level. That is bad. High school gyms are not lighted to the level of college or pro arenas, and that is the problem. Some gyms are dimmer than others, and some gyms are very dim. The light is usually even over the court. Now that's good, except for badminton, where they use the entire court floor all the way out to the gym walls where the light level is lower. Action: volleyball and basketball are fast, and so are some of the badminton hits. Gear: camera with a max ISO of at least 25,600. Things can get dim in the gym, and depends on what lens you use, you may need to go up high. Lens: for a dim gym, saying is, in low light, fast glass wins, and these are fast glass. 17 to 50 2.8 APS-C DSLR lens. Unfortunately, it has been discontinued. 24 to 70 2.8 mirrorless, or on a DSLR if you cannot find the discontinued 17 to 50 2.8. 70 to 200 2.8. 35-1.8 and 50-1.8 for the dim gyms. For a bright gym, 24 to 120 f4 lens or similar. Tamron 35 to 150 2.8 to 4 DSLR lens. Again, discontinued lens, but that is a great lens for the gym. And the kit lenses, the 18 to 55 and 18 to 140 class lens. And the various APS-C kit lenses, such as the 18 to 55 and the 18 to 140. These kit lenses become practical with AI noise reduction. What lens do you need for your gym? Take your camera and a general purpose lens to the gym. Set the camera, exposure mode M, shutter speed 1/200 of a second, aperture f5.6, ISO 6400. Take a picture of a person in the middle of the court floor. Adjust the shutter speed to get a good exposure of the person. If the shutter speed is lower than 1/200 of a second, you have a dim gym. You should be using an f1.8 prime lens like the 35-1.8 and 50-1.8. Note, however, while your gym may not be dim, if you go to an away game at another school, that gym may be dim. Exposure: exposure mode M. Shutter speed: for basketball, volleyball, and badminton, 1/1000th of a second, but no slower than 1/500th of a second. For wrestling, 1/500th of a second, but no slower than 1/250th of a second. The issue here is, the slower you drop your shutter speed, the more you will have subject motion blur. Aperture: shoot wide open, or max aperture, which is also the smallest f number. So, on the lenses, 17 to 50, 24 to 70, and 70 to 200, all 2.8 lenses, shoot at wide open f2.8. On the 35 and 50 f1.8 lenses, shoot at f1.8 or 2. On the kit lenses, such as the 18 to 55 and 18 to 140 class lens, set it to f5.6. On these variable aperture lenses, you have to select the max aperture at the longest focal length. If you set the max aperture at the short focal length like at 18, it's going to be down at f3.5, but as you zoom out to the longer focal length, the aperture is going to close down to 5.6. So it doesn't make any sense to set it to 3.5 when that's not going to be what you're shooting at. ISO, set to auto or manual. For the 35 and 51.8 lens, set to ISO 3200. For the 2.8 lenses, 17 to 50, 24 to 70, and 70 to 200, set to 6400. For the kit lenses, the 18 to 55 and 18 to 140 lens, set to 5.6 at ISO 25,600. And it's in red because at 25,600 you are going to get high ISO noise. For all of these manual settings, adjust as necessary for your gym. Process. Before the game, take a test shot. Is the exposure okay? If not, adjust. With the auto ISO, adjust the exposure compensation. With manual ISO, adjust the ISO level up or down. Exposure caution. Gyms with exterior doors and windows. If you point your camera towards the open door or window, the sun coming in from the door or window may confuse the meter into underexposing the athlete, as in the picture on the top right. Sun coming in through the door, camera's going, whoa, too bright, and it's going to drop the exposure. So as you can see, the athletes are dark because the camera has lowered the exposure. In this situation, you want to shoot full manual so the camera is not adjusting the exposure on you. White balance. Most cameras have an auto white balance that works reasonably well. If the color is off, you will have to do a custom white balance adjustment. Please see the instructions for your camera. The reason is the procedure to set the white balance is not the same for all cameras, which is why you have to read the instructions for your camera. Practice doing the custom white balance in the classroom. Because it is not something you do often, it can be confusing when you try to do it. You may need a piece of white paper. Again, it's going to be part of the instructions. The instructions will tell you how you need to take your white balance and what you may need for it. After the game, always return the white balance to auto. If you do not, you will sabotage the next person to use the camera. And I have seen it. I've had one of my students come up to me with her pictures all blue because someone had changed the white balance in front of her and did not change it back to auto. So when she took her pictures, it was set with the prior white balance setting. Away games. Away gyms may have different lighting conditions than at your home gym. More or less light than your home gym, different lighting color. Also, the uniform color. Setting your exposure and white balance. Take a test shot using your home setting. Or, if you have one, a predetermined exposure setting for that away gym. Check your exposure. Is it okay? Fine. Is it too dark? Increase the ISO level, use a slower shutter speed, or use a faster lens. Is it too bright? Decrease the ISO level, or use a faster shutter speed. Or you can also use a slower lens, such as the 35 to 150 2.8 to 4. White balance. Is it okay? Cool. Is it not good? Well, then you need to do a custom white balance adjustment. A tip. Record the exposure for that away gym. You or another photographer will have a good starting exposure to use the next time you shoot at that gym. Why go to an away game? It is the uniform color for basketball. Away is usually color, home is usually white. The problem is at home when the opponent is in a bright color uniform, such as in the picture on the right. When you look at that picture, your eye is not looking at your team in the white. Your eye is going to the opponent in the red. In this case, I would go to the away game at their school, so they are in white and we are in color. Things to watch out for. Background, spectators. Spectators in general create a busy background and you have distracting color of clothes. As in the picture on the top right, there's two ladies, one in pink, one in red. And when you look at that picture, your eye's not looking at the player, it's looking at those two ladies. The opponent's bench. If they're wearing a distracting color, such as the lower picture, orange, if they're in the background, your eye is going to get pulled to the bench. Move. Go to different places on the court so you can get different angles and different people. Shoot from the bleachers, maybe the top of the bleachers. Shoot from a loft or a balcony. You get the top-down view. For instance, the picture on the bottom right, I'm going to the top of the bleachers so I can shoot over the net so I can get the face of the spiker. Warning, flash. Standard rule, flash is not allowed for gym sports. With the proper gear and knowledge, you can shoot without a flash. Before you take out your flash, ask both the referees and the coaches if they will allow it. I have seen a referee stop the game and tell a parent to stop using his flash. You may be ejected from the gym if you do not obey the ref. Problem, high ISO noise. Problem, the gym is dim. At high ISO levels above 10,000 or deep crops, you will get noise. Noise is a problem on the face and skin as shown on this picture. You can see all the noise marks primarily on the face and the arms. They are there on the other parts of the pictures, but you'll notice them on the face and arms primarily. Alternatives. Use a fast lens so you can use a lower ISO. f2.8 zoom, I shoot at ISO 6400. That's kind of marginal. f1.8, that allows me to shoot at ISO 3200. Alternative, AI noise reduction software. Note, there is no free lunch. Both alternatives above cost money or time. Example, this is the full frame image. You see the two boxes, one in blue, one in red. Normally, I would limit my crop down to the blue box, but we're going to show you what happens when you go into the red box, which was the previous pictures you've seen. Different depth of cropping. This is the blue box. And this is the red box. So you can see the deeper you crop, the more visible the noise is. The noise is still there in the blue box picture on the left, but it's because you're not cropping so deeply, you don't see it as much. But it's very visible on the red box crop on the right. So we use something called AI noise reduction, which has just started out in the past year. This is the red box without AI noise reduction. And this is the red box with AI noise reduction. So you can see the dramatic difference. Basically, the left picture is unusable. The right picture is actually pretty good. AI noise reduction, pros and cons. Pros, you can use a higher ISO in the gym, and it allows you to crop deeper into the image. Cons, there is no free lunch. If the AI noise reduction function is not in your photo editor, you have to buy AI noise reduction software, which is costing you money. All the AI noise reduction software that I know of require a minimum level graphics processor or GPU in your computer. Desktop computer. If you do not have a GPU, you have to add one. which means buying a GPU card. If your GPU does not meet the minimum specs for the AI noise reduction software, you have to upgrade your GPU. More money. Adding or upgrading may not be possible in the small or all-in-one computers. Basically, for those computers, you're going to be stuck with what you have. Laptops. Some laptops have a GPU, some do not. Typically, you cannot add or upgrade a laptop. What you have is all you have. If you have a gaming computer, pretty expensive, you probably have a GPU for your games. AI noise reduction adds another step to your workflow, which can add more processing time. This is acceptable for the few pictures of a game that yearbook and journalism uses. But that is not acceptable for the over 100 pictures of a game that the athletic department uses. This is why I selectively use AI noise reduction only on the worst of the pictures. The others I leave alone. I just don't have time. The end. Please like and subscribe.